What up? Come on in. Thank you all for tapping like. When we get up to when we get up to 2K, I'm going to let somebody come up here and answer the question. My name is Brother Legend, and I'm here to raise your consciousness. As always, no isms or phobias on stage. A whole lot of y'all's angry in these comments. Don't be mad. Get glad. Get glad that we just talking about it and we ain't coming to take it. Be glad that we just talking. I don't know who brought somebody up on my panel. I have a moderator problem. I'm not sure. Y'all keep bringing people up. It's too soon. As well. QT Smooth. I'm sorry, Q2 Smooth. Give us your age, race, and pronouns, please. Q2,
Yeah,
are you
man.
there?
39. Him.
Okay. Your race, please. Okay, so he left. Moderators, please don't bring people up on my panels before we get the goal of 2K likes. We got to get to 2K likes. Oh, now we're at 2K. Normally, this is when I bring people up. I'm not sure if that last person had a connection issue. I still would have took the questions. All right, so we're going to bring some people up here to talk to us. Give me just a moment. Hi, buddy. Give us your age, race, and pronouns.
I am a white male, 49 years old, and I'm. That's it. Is that what you asked for?
Yep, that's it. Go ahead and talk to us.
I basically disagree. Because the reparations would basically be coming from today's taxpayers who had nothing to do with the slave trade. Also, you have most of the slaves did come from Europe first before even America separated from England. And yes, because of the contentions with slaves, we had to put that in our constitution so we could get our country. And then we fought with England. But basically, Spanish and European countries first brought the slave trade. And then basically, because America was already addicted to it, we had to carry it on when we got our independence. But again, I don't see the justice in taxing the American people of today for something they had nothing to do with.
Well, you just said they had something to do with it, and then you said that they didn't have something to do with it. Which one is it?
No, no, sir. I said today's people, the ones that you would be actually getting the reparations from, the tax dollars from Americans today, would be the ones who would have to pay out the reparations. They had nothing to do. Today's generation and the people living today had nothing to do with the slave trade. That happened 200-300 years ago. And like I said, you show me the justice in making people pay for something that they had nothing to do with.
Well, do you feel like the U.S. government has something to do with it?
Not the U.S. government today.
Well, the U.S. government existed before today, so
That is correct. And again, the U.S. government, if it, like I said, if you even charge the U.S. government or they paid, it only comes from today's taxpayers. The U.S. government has no money except for the taxpayers.
okay. So,
So,
so that being the case, right? The taxpayers today get their money because of businesses formed by the old U.S. government that are still in existence to today, including the banks that hold the U.S. taxpayers' money, like Chase Bank, that were complicit in selling and buying and trading and profiting from the transatlantic slave trade. Do you think that those corporations and the U.S. government should do nothing as far as reparations?
no, sir, because again, you're, you'd have to go to court to get the reparations and you'd charge and you'd have to talk to everybody who had nothing to do with it. You're looking at
So,
what, 200-300 years we ended slavery. And
so, so if Black Americans could get reparations from, say, aliens from outer space, get them to pay for it, um, would you be in agreement of it then?
at that point in time, if they agreed to it, yes. But at the end of the day, are the aliens obligated because they had nothing to do with it? Because what you're
Well,
looking for, reparations, you're looking for uh, civil payback or whatever from what happened to your ancestors. And basically, today's like basically look what happened after Germany. People were punished right then and there, and everything happened right then and there. So the people who paid for the Holocaust actually participated in the Holocaust. And stuff that was taken that the Nazis stole and given back to the families was done right then. And now they're still
America,
looking.
America
Go
paid
ahead.
reparations to victims of the Holocaust. So America had nothing to do with it. So why would America pay reparations to victims of the Holocaust that they had nothing to do with?
I would have to look into that. I am ignorant on that fact. I know the American government gave money to help rebuild Europe and also transferred a lot of people who
Well,
were.
when you're rebuilding something that was once destroyed, it could be looked at as repairing something, right? So the root word of reparation is repair. right? So if America paid to repair Europe after World War II, something that they had nothing to do with, wouldn't that be the same thing as reparations?
I do believe those were loans and we were paid back.
No, they weren't, because they're
Uh,
still actually paying it.
Well, like I said, I'll have to research that. But again, as far as reparations or, and also seeing as it happened so long ago, who do we know that are actually descendants of the slaves that were held by America? I mean, there are a lot of people who moved in here and everything else, and who can trace their lineage back to the slave trade. And also, if we do reparations, we'd also need to do reparations for the American Indians and what we took from them.
Are you against that?
Well, if we're starting to pay out for stuff, like I said, I don't see the justice in it. If
You don't see the
America,
justice in
I don't
reparations
see the
for land that you're
justice. No.
the generation that exists and is alive today is still living on the same land that was stolen, right? So, would you look at reparations for the indigenous Americans the same way you do those that were sold into slavery?
No,
Because
because again,
they're still living on that land. So
yes.
today they're still stealing that land. They
Well,
haven't given it back.
it is not stealing because they
Yes, it
were
is.
conquered.
Every time you own land or rent a property on land that was stolen, you're stealing that land. So, do you think that because the people today are do have something to do with stealing land, that they should pay reparations back?
No, because they are not the ones who originally did the crime or
Yes,
did
they
what
are.
they did.
They're not doing it now.
The land that they're on, it was taken many years ago. And again, the person who originally took the land should have to pay reparations. And again, at what point in time you have all the lineage of people owning that land, what part of the reparations does each one of them have?
Okay, so what do you think should be done to solve some of the systemic issues that still linger from slavery?
Well, first, we need to start actually putting money into America and getting jobs and start building. Because when we started shipping out all our jobs, I do know a lot of African Americans were building cars. We're in the Detroit area. Now Detroit looks like a third world country, and we need to start putting monies back into the cities to where people can actually have decent paying wage jobs, but we're not going to do that until we get manufacturing back here. And as far as I think we need to stop with all the laws. Everybody says we have a police brutality problem. I say no, we have a law problem that allows the police to be brutal to us. When you have laws that allow cops to just go into places and forget the Constitution and arrest people, and then you look at it, well, a high percentage rate has to happen to be African Americans, and no one says anything about it. There's a problem.
A high percentage of police brutality happens to African Americans.
No, I said when you see a lot of police activity, not police brutality, but police activity, people getting arrested, and like the statistics show, it's a higher proportion of African Americans than it is to the white or Asian and Hispanic.
So what
And
does that statistic tell you?
that we have too many police and too many laws that basically are getting people caught up and everything else. We need to release, for a free country, we have too many laws. I mean, you can break a law without even knowing it because they'll put 500 in the next year and everything else. Walking across a construction site is a federal offense. I didn't even know that till the other day. But how many people know that and just walk across, making sure they get to their place faster? So we have a law problem in our legal system because basically police are just dogs, and they chase after the people that supposedly break laws. Well, they start making laws to where they can release the dogs.
Hmm. Okay, so your version of a better America would be no reparations for anyone that was the descendants of anyone that was formerly enslaved, unless you're the descendant of someone that survived the Holocaust for some reason. No reparations for Native Americans, even though the people today still live on their land. And we should all go back to building and manufacturing cars in Detroit and have
No,
less
no, no.
law.
I'm just using that as an example. There are no high-paying jobs anymore in America. Everybody's suffering because we do not manufacture. We don't have the work capacity anymore that we used to. We don't have unions and everything else. We just need higher-paying jobs where people can start affording things, and also make those jobs available everywhere. Like I said, you look at the Midwest, all the cities basically look like third world countries, and there's nothing going on.
Which group of people do you think has the highest rate of unemployment in America?
I do not know, but I'll say African Americans, but I do not know.
Okay, so do you think when we get this job building initiative started in the United States, that it should primarily go to African Americans first?
Yes, and I also do believe, not trying to offend anyone, but we're going to have to start with the border also, because how many people are here legally that have jobs that could be filled? And I'm not trying to start any political thing, but if you have 200, 200 people and you only have 150 jobs, it doesn't matter what happens. There's only 150 jobs. But if you have 150 people, 150 jobs, everybody have a job. We are overloading America to where you cannot even begin to think to employ everybody.
How do you qualify or make the distinction between who's legal and illegal on stolen land?
Well, you say stolen land. Basically, if what you're asking for, if it was to be unstolen, everyone except Native Americans would have to leave. And how would
Okay.
that benefit anyone? Because
Well,
Europe
it
is
would it
going to
would
take.
benefit it would benefit the people that you're calling illegal, right? Because aren't they indigenous, native to this land?
I'm not calling them illegal. I'm talking about the people who actually cross the border
Yeah,
without
the
it.
people that crossed the border that was land owned by their ancestors until Europeans came and drew a line and said, "This is Texas," right?
Well, it was really the Native Americans. I think the Comanche was out here, Apache, the Coenqua was in Galveston, and everything
So,
else. And then,
so do you think that Mexicans are like a different, not native group of people? Like, where do you think Mexicans come from?
from my understanding, you had the Aztecs, the Mayans that basically ruled what we call Mexico today. You had northern Mexico, and then I think right there, Yucatan or lower, the Mayans had it. And then when the Spanish came, they killed a lot of
Um,
them, but then they also raped and had children with a lot of them. And the
okay,
Mexicans
so
that we
you
have
gotta be
today,
careful with certain words, buddy.
oh,
Uh,
sorry, sir,
yeah.
essayed, I apologize, essayed some, or basically, and the Hispanics that we have today are descendants of the Spanish and the local tribes or indigenous people.
So why can't they have the land back? Because they seem to want it so much, they're willing to keep crossing that border. Why don't we just give that land back to them, or make it legal for them to have land here? Why can't they come here?
Again, we already have enough people here. If we cannot take care of our own, how can we take care of others? If you go to any city around, you have homeless, and that's all you hear about, the homeless situation. Everything else you have, and if we can't get everyone a home, food, and a stable income to where they can actually take care of themselves and a family, then we're not doing our job as Americans, and the government's not doing its job to take care of its citizens. So if we keep taking on the burden of others, or people just coming over here, and we can't even take care of our own, we're going to be drowning. Just like we're how many $1 trillion in debt and we're giving Europe money, that needs to stop. I don't agree with all that.
So, do you think we should defund the police and the military?
Uh, Not the police. I do believe the Constitution already said we are not to have a standing army. So, yes, we need to stop funding the juggernaut. And I think even Eisenhower gave a speech of the industrial military complex. And if we let it get out of hand, what we lose by doing this. We're only supposed to fund for a Navy and the Marine Corps. And the Marine Corps is part of the Navy, and that's why it is. And that is supposed to be the fast contingent unit. If something does happen, the president can command the Marines to go somewhere, and then Congress has to declare, give approval for war, and then the states are supposed to have the military or whatever, and then you're supposed to call upon the states for the military. But yes, I do believe that our military is way too big, wasting too much money.
Okay. Well, thank you for your answers, buddy.
Well, thank you, sir, and you have a blessed day.
Yes, sir. All right. What did we learn, brothers and sisters? What did we learn? We learned a lot, did we not? I didn't really learn much, actually, but we heard a lot of talking. Let's go to the next guest. I'm going to bring up somebody. If you want to come up on the panel, I'm going to ask you for your age, race, and pronouns. Do not be alarmed. Give us your age, race, and pronouns.
Hello.
Yes, give us your age, race, and pronouns, please.
I'm a male. I'm 45.
Your race?
I'm black.
All right, talk to us.
Do all black people deserve reparations? I'll say it's a tough thing to say that all black people deserve reparations. It's a real tough thing because I feel like the people who transgressed against us are dead. They're no longer here. And to hold other people accountable for those people's actions is kind of, I don't see that is right. I think it will rip the country apart, and at the same time, I feel like we're all Americans, black and white people. I feel like it should be more about America at the end of the day, because it took black people and white people to build America at the end of the day.
No, it didn't.
Yes, it did.
No, it didn't.
How did it not?
It took black people.
It just took black people only.
Mm-hmm.
How was that? So
Because
who wrote the articles to make America America? Did black people do that?
people that owned black people that needed black people to do everything else, but right in offices. People
But
that
not,
like built America.
then I would say that every single white person in America owned a slave, and that's simply not the case.
Every white person in America either owned a slave or worked for
That's
somebody that did. You
That
didn't
would
listen to what I
mean
said. I
listen,
said
if you said
they
that
either
would
owned a slave or they worked for somebody that did.
so
Or they came to America later on
mhm.
because they knew when they landed on these shores from Europe that they wouldn't be slaves, and they saw this as a land of opportunity.
But they were still oppressed when they got here too, because when you see people come from Poland, Ireland,
You
the
know what
Irish,
oppression is?
Say that again?
Do you know what oppression is?
Yes, I do know oppression is.
All right, so when someone oppresses someone, why do they do it?
It's out of ego.
Ego?
Yeah,
Ego?
yeah.
You think they went through the transatlantic slave trade? You think Europeans went all the way to Africa, risked their lives crossing the Atlantic Ocean for ego? You think just ego was they just wanted to feel nice?
No, it's to get. It's not about feeling nice when I talk about ego. It's about getting resources. It's about building an empire. That's connected to your ego. The more you build
No,
something, the
no,
better
no,
you feel
man.
about yourself. No,
I feel like you talk out of ego and you're projecting.
how am I
The
projecting?
you're going to take this conversation somewhere way the hell off. The reason that you oppress people is to exploit their labor. So you exploit them. It's for exploitation.
That's
It's because
part.
you want to exploit. It's not because of no ego. I don't know what book you read that told you it was ego. Please.
The laws of human nature and sapient.
The law of human nature is ego.
The laws of human nature.
Bucks. Reading a book that's titled The Laws of Human Nature and not reading any books about the European transatlantic slave trade is where you made your first mistake.
How
Like
I
you
made
can't
my.
formulate an opinion. You can't formulate an opinion based off of historical events when you never research those historical
But you
events.
don't. But you don't know if I know those historical events though. You don't even know that.
So again, Bucks, you need to research those historical events in order
I
to
have.
formulate an
I
accurate. No,
have.
you have not. You just quoted a book that has nothing to do with those historical events. How is that researching when you literally did
Ask
not
me first.
research?
You're making an assumption. Ask me first. What do I know about the
Bro, I've been
transatlantic
listening
slave
to
trade?
you. I've been listening to you, and I can
Ask me that
clearly
first.
tell that you know
Listen,
little to nothing about what actually occurred.
how you
And
gonna
yet you're
tell
up here
me?
formulating an opinion. That's a
I know a lot
problem.
about. Hey, my lineage is I'm first immigration. My parents are from Haiti. The lifespan of a Haitian slave is 3 years. What are you
No, it
talking
wasn't.
about?
It was
Because
five.
your
Yes, it
family
was. Oh my
went,
No,
God.
it wasn't. It was
The
5 years.
average lifespan of a
now
Haitian
you're
slave
starting
is
to
three
scream because
years.
you
Listen,
listen.
Listen, some of y'all need to get out your ego and calm down. All right, we're gonna go to the next guest. It was 5 years for a Haitian slave. Shout out to the Haitian ancestors, man. The spirit of Dessalines is in this live, y'all. Welcome to the Pan African side of TikTok. My name is Brother Legend, and I'm here to raise your consciousness. Big up to my Haitian brothers and sisters. Thank you, and thank the ancestors that y'all come from, the rich bloodline that flows through your veins, for what you did to liberate us as Africans in the West. We got nothing but love and respect for our Haitian brothers and sisters here in America. All right, I'm gonna go to the next guest. Oh, all my guests ran away. Well, if anybody wants to come up, send a request. Send a request. You can come on up. And we got strawberry cake up here. What's going on, sister?
Hey everybody, how you doing?
Peace, peace.
So
Doing well.
I just wanted to say two things because I just, I know I like to speak in my Ebonics heavily. So I just want to speak about this in layman's terms. For some people who truly don't understand, because it seems like the last guy, he doesn't really understand the depth of the conversation. So we need reparations and we deserve reparations, and the reparations need to be paid worldwide. But I'm only going to speak for this country. I'm in the United States. So this is what I want to say. Most minorities, but we're talking about Black people right now, we all work entry level jobs, most of us. You have a few of us that went to college, but it's not enough. So at the end of the day, with the reparations, it will allow you to afford the education that was stolen from you, because college used to be free until they let us attend college. And a lot of people don't realize that. So half of this student loan debt and all of these things that you were going through, you shouldn't have to go through it because it was free before you were allowed to go. So now when you got these presidents and these CEOs and these senators with this very high level of education, a lot of those people are grandfathered into those jobs. So somebody went to school for free and they brought their kids and the grandkids, and that's why they get there. And then there's no room for us because now we have to pay. And
Mm.
and I wanted to just add the second thing that I wanted to say, and it was similar to yesterday. Who's ever worked a job for 3 months and never gotten paid?
Mm.
People are pretending that you just are out here working for free and it's not a big deal. A lot of us are still living check to check. So at the end of the day, you got people in your family that worked their whole life and they were abused and harmed and hurt in the most tragic ways we could ever think. And they never got paid. They never got anything, not a I'm sorry, not a apology, anything. So yes, reparations are due because this is why we have to live in poverty, and we have to go through the things that we have to because we are broke. We don't have the proper education for this country for the things that they require to get these high level jobs. So we need it. Education should be free and they need to give us the money that they owe us. Nobody wants to work a job and never get paid.
I heard that.
Yep. It makes absolutely no sense that black people were forced to work to build this country for centuries and we're still paying taxes.
Mm.
It makes no sense.
Hmm. Absolutely. It should be tax. We should be a tax-free tribe. So, absolutely, I'm for that, and I hope y'all are too, brothers and sisters. If you like sweet potato pie, please tap like. If you've ever used coconut oil in your hair, your skin, and your food, I need you to tap like. If you enjoy the smell of cocoa butter, I need you to tap like. Brothers and sisters, get us on the right algorithm, share the live with some more richly melanated folks so that we can have a real discussion or as real as TikTok will allow. All right, we're going to go to the next guest. Obsidian, give us your age, your race, and your pronouns, please.
Peace and love. Can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you.
Yes. I'm a Moor.
Okay. Yeah, we ain't doing that. All right. Yeah, I'm a s'more, actually. You heat me up, put me in the oven.
Cracker.
Yeah. I'm a s'more. Hey, yo, please don't play on my phone, y'all. Please don't come up here playing on a grown man phone. I'm a grown adult man. Can you hear me? Do not come on my phone playing. If y'all don't know what race you are, then please don't come up here. I'm going to ask you your age, your race, and your pronouns. Y'all know what the races are, right? I didn't ask you what culture you was in. You know what I'm saying? Moor is a ethnicity of people from North Africa. We ask what your race is. We don't have time to unpack identity issues and all that problems. We're talking about race up here, so let's be a little bit halfway genuine with answering these questions. We'll go to the next guest. Two hearts, give us your age, your race, and your pronouns, please.
24, black. And did you say, what else did you say?
She, he, they. Choose one.
She.
All right, talk to us.
So I believe that every black person does deserve it, but I think that every black person, I think we all deserve it, but I think every black person doesn't need it, if that makes sense. Because I feel like if we was a lot of black people, and I'm gonna be honest about my community, if we were to get it, a lot of y'all would do dumb shit with it. You motherfuckers would be buying
Please,
Jordans.
all right. Please,
Y'all would be.
like, how is that constructive? Like calling us dumb and
I know.
inept. And,
I'm
you
sorry.
know
The
what I'm
black
saying?
community, they be
Like
stressing me
at
out. They
some
be
point, it's
stressing me
gonna
out.
be anti-black though. Like you
Yeah,
talking
I
to black
know.
people, put some love on that.
Yeah,
You know what
you
I'm
know
saying?
what? You
Like
right.
even if you feel that way, I'm not mad at you. You know, a lot of us probably would spend it incorrectly because we don't have
Yeah.
financial literacy.
I'm
But
sorry, y'all.
yeah,
I ain't trying to be anti-black, but sometimes the black, we have to. Sometimes I feel like as a black person, we got to be hard on one another because we haven't been for a very long time, right? We've been letting each other get away with so many things, and
Family,
this
it
is
has been the
why.
opposite.
Wait, hold on. Let
Family.
it talk, Timothy.
Okay.
Wait, hold on. Hold on. Let it talk. Go ahead, Two Hearts.
I just feel like the black community, we lost our power, honestly. We really have been. And so I feel like black people, we really been on bullcrap for a lot of years. And this is why I emphasize on us being more hands on with each other and being more real with each other, because for centuries, y'all, we just ain't really been where we need to be, honestly. But I feel like if we did get reparations, I want us to kind of, y'all gonna hate what I'm about to say, but I think we should be segregated a little bit.
All right. So segregated is not the right word. TikTok don't
Or,
even like that word, so please don't
oh,
say it
sorry,
again. But separated makes sense.
separated.
Also, when we talk about reparations, I feel like you meant it in the form of dollars, correct?
Is that not? I thought because when I heard about reparations, I was hearing like kind of like what they did. I can't remember, but when can I say war on here?
I don't know. War?
Yeah, can I say that word?
Yeah,
Because
I
I know
think
there's
you
so
can
many words
say
you
it.
can't say. So yeah, I noticed they did give reparations. I can't remember what war it was, but they gave America
No,
gave
that's a myth.
reparations to,
That's a myth.
huh?
I know what you're about to say. 40 acres and a mule. Yeah,
Yeah, and so I
that
thought
actually
that's
didn't.
what it meant, but I don't. That's what I've heard, that it was like compensation for what happened during like slavery and stuff. It was like
All
money
right.
because.
So for the purpose of this live, let me let me just maybe put into context what reparations are. Money is something that's been considered as one form of reparations, but reparation, the root word is to repair. So to repair damage that has been done.
Oh, okay, I like that
So
better.
so yeah, if I break your house, like if I just bulldoze part of your house and your house is messed up, I can either pay you for it so that you can get the repairs. I might be able to go get my hammer, get my saw, and fix it myself. But at the end goal is to fix the damage that was done. No matter what kind of way I do that, there's multiple ways that I could do that. And reparations wouldn't just include a big check that everyone gets, and then we all, because that wouldn't repair nothing, like you said.
Right.
That would just keep us, back. We give it right back to them, and so
Exactly. Yeah.
there are many other solutions, but each solution, even if it fails, reparations would continue because the goal is to repair a community that has been damaged.
Okay, I like that
So
better than the money aspect, because when I heard about reparations, everybody always talked about a check. No one ever talked about repairing what was broken. What was
yeah,
broken.
like it should be we gonna get y'all right because we messed up. So whatever it is, if we gotta keep giving y'all monthly checks, if we gotta help y'all acquire some land, if we gotta set up a separate economy for y'all to have your own power that you can fuel and fund your own schools and stuff like that. Like that's what reparations is supposed to be. It's supposed to be to fix all the damage in
I
all
have an
time.
honest question too.
Uh,
Do you really think that if the white community gave us those things, do you really think that the black community would do right? And I'm not trying to be anti-black. I really want to know this answer.
Well, let me ask you this: would a child be more likely to learn how to read if their schools were fully funded and given all the appropriate, financial compensation to be able to get all the right books that would be required for them to adequately learn how to read?
If they are willing to, because I know a lot of kids who have
Okay, but
resources.
hold on. See, the thing is that the only reason why many of us have internalized certain behaviors is because of certain things that have been
Right.
perpetuated generationally, like after generation. Post-traumatic slave syndrome is very much so a thing. So that is not our fault. We can't be blaming ourselves so damn much for the things that we have been forced to internalize and perpetuate. without even realizing it, because they're all survival tactics.
Okay.
Like, there's a reason
Yeah.
why we internalize a culture of not reading. Like, it's
Yeah.
because if we learned how to read back in the day, we would get beat within an inch of our life
Yeah.
because we knew how to read. So we normalized a culture of saying it's bad to read. Like,
Yeah.
same thing why we eat certain types of food that's very unhealthy for us. We had no choice but to eat that food. So we normalized a culture of eating
Right.
certain types of food. So it's, it's just, if you fix the systemic, if you fix the systemic issues, then as a default, you're going to see a betterment of the community as a whole. And then the next generation is going to see better experiences because they've been raised by a community that experienced the betterment. And then it's going to be a trickle down effect. But, like, we got to have more faith and more grace in ourselves. Like, that's why I say that we can't be so hard on ourselves, because
Yeah.
we've been hard.
I got a question. I'm new
I
here.
was just
Hold
trying to.
on. We're devolving into chaos. Hold on. We're gonna get to you, Eric. We got one more guest. She's gonna land her plane. We're gonna go to you. Everybody in the comments, tap like so we get to 25K likes, and then I'll open the comments back up.
Yeah, I was trying
Yeah,
to
go
be
ahead.
anti-black. I'm really not. I'm really trying, because a lot of people, they get so upset because people don't want me to, say, certain things
Because
because
first
I'm
of all, we in
anti-black.
mixed company.
But we have to
That's what's
acknowledge those things
problematic.
too.
We're in
Sorry.
mixed company. So you in front of white folks telling us that we dumb and mother effers that can't spend our own money.
No.
I'm just saying. I'm not saying you saying that, but you saying that. Like you're asking, are we inept? Like, are we innately stupid? Like, that. Like, are we the only
Yeah, but
people
it's an
group? Are
honest
we the only
question. Like, I'm
people
not trying to
group?
be
Are we the only
funny.
people group on Earth that, if given the opportunity to help themselves, would have no clue how to do that? And I don't believe we're that. I don't believe we're that ignorant. We've been surviving without reparations for 500 years. I think with a little bit of a help, it's from, or actually with a little bit of repair from the people that caused damage in our community
Right.
to give us these issues in the first place. I don't think we would make our situation worse. I don't see it getting worse.
Okay, because it
There
was a
might
genuine question. I know a lot of people are saying I'm anti-black, and the lady in the comments, I was having a genuine conversation, but like, she wants to argue. So yeah, but I wanted to clarify that and say that I'm not trying to say we're incompetent or we're dumb. These are genuine questions because of what I have seen from the black community. I have not
see
seen
the
much.
black community is not a monolith. So what you have seen from the black community does not represent the black community.
Absolutely, I'm
We're
just
not a
saying that's why I
monolith.
was
We're not all
asking.
like that. Like,
Exactly, that's why I'm asking questions.
Sister,
This is how you
sister,
learn
I,
when you
sister,
I
ask
know,
bro.
but
questions.
I'm saying when you ask that question, you're asking that with a bias. The bias is based on ignorance that you've seen in the
Right.
black community, and it
I agree.
perpetuates the ignorance taught to other people groups that we're
Yes,
all dumb and ignorant. So to
exactly.
say that I've seen dumb and ignorant black people, because white people called us dumb and ignorant, and I've seen dumb and ignorant. So
Yeah.
are we dumb and ignorant, guys? Like, it's
Yeah.
like you're believing the
Right.
narrative. We are not a monolith. There are
I
plenty.
agree.
Black women are the most educated demographic in America. You're telling me the most educated people in America would somehow make a worse situation for themselves if given reparations? That don't make no sense.
No, I wasn't saying that exactly, but I was just
Sister, I
saying
have a question.
when we do
Sister, I have
get
a
these
question for you. I
things,
have a
what
question
exactly would
before
we
you
do with them?
continue. Before you continue, I have a question for you. All right. If you made a mistake, and it was a pretty big mistake, right? It was like a really, really embarrassing mistake. Would you prefer that your friends like call you out in the middle of a public auditorium, like screaming at the top of their lungs, talking about how ridiculous of a mistake you just made and how ridiculously embarrassing it is and how you need to fix that mistake? Or would you prefer that they, kept their mouth shut and then stepped to the side with you and said, hey, listen, you made a mistake. That's something you need to correct. Which would you prefer?
It's kind of hard to say which I would prefer because it depends on the situation. Me personally,
No.
if you're doing something wrong, I'm gonna call it out.
Okay, but again, if you did something wrong, something that's
Me too.
embarrassing,
I want
would
you
you
to call me out
prefer,
right then and there.
hold
Don't wait.
on, hold on. Would you prefer that they call you out in the middle of an auditorium, something that's embarrassing, or would you prefer that they step to the side and be like, hey, listen, this is something you need to correct for next time around?
Depending on what
Which
I
one?
did.
Okay, again. All right, well then what would you say would be something that would warrant that you would want them to set you to the side? Because I've never heard of somebody saying like, yeah, I would willingly sit in an auditorium and want this person to
No,
call
it's
me
not
out
that I
to such
want
a
that,
degree.
but I feel like by hiding, like I feel like people are getting mad at my questions, and this is what makes me think that
No,
some
but
of them
what you're
are
not
low-key a
understanding,
little bit true.
sister, what you're not understanding is that just like how Brother Legend said before, when we are in mixed company, you seem very adamant about refusing to acknowledge
No,
the fact. Hold on, you seem very adamant about refusing to acknowledge the fact that when in mixed company, we still should degrade ourselves anyway. It's like
no.
it's weird. It's weird that you want to completely ignore the fact that when the enemy is in the room, that there is just certain things that you should and should not do. And that is a given. That means that you are required to engage in a certain level of self-control, especially when we're talking about each other around mixed company. But if you are not willing to engage in that level of self-control, so that way we can have the conversation, but have it in a safe space where our enemies won't use it against us, then that in and of itself is dangerous.
I mean, if that's how you feel, I get it.
It's not a how I feel, it's what is. That's
If that's what you
dangerous.
think what it is, that's
All
okay.
right, yeah.
That girl ain't pro-black. Point
All right.
Yes, I am.
All
I'm
right, you
asking
triggering my
questions
wife.
because I
It's all right. It's all right. We gonna move on.
think what y'all want to think.
All right. We gonna go to the next guest. Eric, give us your age, race, and pronouns, please. Eric, give us your age, race, and pronouns.
I ain't got no pronouns. I'm a man. I'm 36. I only have one question though. On this whole reparation talk, right? Is it only a conversation for
Hold on,
Americans?
Eric, hold on. Did you say your race?
I'm black. I'm black. I'm black as fuck.
Okay. All right. And
I'm
all right, brother.
36.
Do
I'm
we even want
36,
to
right?
talk
I'm
about
36.
this?
Well, my
Listen,
question is,
when it comes to black people, I don't like it when they say they don't have pronouns because they know they do. There's
man, I don't got
probably
no
some.
fucking pronoun.
There's,
I
all
got.
right, see, now
All
you
right,
got
Eric.
triggered. Now you gotta
All right.
go. Like I wanted to hear his question, Timothy, but now he had to go because why are you cursing? Why are you getting upset? Like somebody asked you your pronouns, bro. Like relax. This is not a space where everybody is straight, bro. So some people up here might want their pronouns to be addressed correctly. That's all we doing. Like I don't see why that's so hard, but I understand it's not part of our culture as Africans to ask someone their pronouns. So sometimes I'll let a brother or sister slide, but I'm definitely not letting no Yankee slide, and I'm definitely not letting somebody that's going to come up here and start cursing and acting hostile just because we ask their pronouns.
It's
Like,
because they don't know what gay means.
right?
And so
Yeah.
they can't even handle pronouns, which is part of the English language. Y'all need to stop.
Yeah, doing too much. All right, Entry, give us your age, race, and pronouns, please.
Hello, I am 19. I go by Free. I'm black, and I go by he, him. To address the question, do all black people deserve reparations? Absolutely. Do I think that we should continue to expect it from white people, given the pattern of behavior that they have established? No, because they have shown us time and time again that they only listen to force. They only listen when, they're like actually forced to reckon with it through violent means, unfortunately. And so I think that the only way that we can expect to get reparations from white people or YT people is by first like establishing some sort of something with the motherland, and then like actively forcing them to reckon with that and to pay up. But yeah, I think that our main concern should be regrouping with Africa, because first of all, strength in numbers, but also Africa is the wealthiest continent on the planet. We don't need their money. We never have. We don't need their help. We never have. We just need to start nationalizing our our, what's the word, our profitable resources, as well as kicking out foreign powers, which I understand is much harder. It's much easier said than done. But, we have examples in Burkina Faso and Mali and Niger. And so we know that it's at least somewhat possible, even if it's very hard.
Absolutely. I think that was an A+ answer. Thank you, and free for that. Let me go to Shaka. Shaka, give us your age, race, pronouns. Talk to us.
All right, peace, family. My name is Shaka. My age 21. My race black, African. We don't want to be nothing else. Pronouns he him.
All right, talk to us, brother.
All right. All black people deserve reparations. Absolutely, I agree. The thing is though, like the sister said, you know what I'm saying. Once Africa is able to establish itself as a global superpower, you know what I'm saying, then we can get into talk about reparations. You know what I'm saying. But one thing, from Africa really these do, you know what I'm saying, is we gotta get and that's here at home too. The only they lead down the path to getting reparation. Oh, you said it for me, but we gotta get rid of the raccoons, you know what I'm saying? Because they one of the biggest threats, you know what I'm saying? You could get a little movement together, you right? You're trying to get everything together to get our reparations, man. It's always gonna not just be enemies on the outside, there'll always be an enemy on the inside, and that's the one you'll have to deal with first. You know what I'm saying? And I want our people, to gain a little knowledge of self, so when we do get reparations, we you know what I'm saying, we already are educated enough to know what we do, you know what I'm saying. I don't want us to use our reparations and waste it, if that makes sense, because our white tea folks is they'll give you some what they right and take it back what they left from. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They'll give us reparations today and then try to come out tomorrow and tell us a half off reparations Cadillac or something. You know what I'm saying? So you feel me? So I would want us to gain the knowledge of self. You know what I'm saying? Before we do anything with reparations, and when we do get reparations, I think we should utilize that reparations for the motherland, you know what I'm saying, or at least get some of this good earth that we can call our own, and just separate from the colonizer entirely.
Absolutely. I think reparations should be sent to the motherland in the form of returning back their resources, returning back all art that was stolen. I think reparations should be a return of all black music created in the United States, give them back their masters and rights to their music. I think reparations should be given back in the form of uranium, gold, cobalt, coltan, and so much other stuff. Yeah, like I think America, oh damn near the whole diaspora. The whole diaspora needed reparations. And then some. You know what I'm saying? But we could talk about it, but we don't have the ability to make or else happen. You know what I'm saying? We can't make or else happen. If we could talk about it till we blue in the face. But if they turn around and say no, what are we gonna do, black Americans? What are we gonna do, Moors, Hebrew Israelites, pretendians? What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do when they say no? Somebody let me know in the comments. What are we gonna do? We're gonna say please and thank you. We're gonna say please again. Until we have an economic power base outside of the United States, we don't have or else power. So that means that us even trying to get reparations during our oppression is just us begging somebody. We do. I wish we could take it, Latasha, but we can't take it until we got or else power. We got to build or else power somewhere. We need black power somewhere. We don't have it nowhere. So we need to build that power base before we do anything. We got to organize. All right, let's go to the next guest. Help find missing children. Give us your age, race, and pronouns.
Hi, how are you?
I am well. Give us your age, race, and pronouns, please.
My pronouns is she. I am 52 years old. I am a third generation freed slave from Africa. I'm also Scottish and Native American. Our
Just your race. Just your race, please. We didn't ask all that. Please, just your race.
African American, Scottish, and Native American.
Those,
52 years old.
none of those are races. Scottish is kind of an ethnicity and
My skin
nationality.
color is black.
American.
My skin color is black. I apologize for that.
You have black skin.
Yes, I'm black. My mother is black, so I consider myself to be black, even though my father is Scottish and Native American.
Yeah, you got. There's something wrong with this. I'm going. I'm going to the next guest. Abdil, give us your age, race, and pronouns. I seen somebody with some deep purple skin before. I never really seen like. I mean, you need to be modeling if you got straight black skin. That's wild.
And black people don't talk like that. Even
And black people,
biracial.
right? Even biracial people don't even talk like that. You know, like that's.
We have to have like a full like breakdown. Like we didn't need to read off your entire 23andMe like report. We didn't need.
Yeah, like what is happening? Come on now.
I've got
I think she
5%
just.
Sweltish. I've got
I thought she
3%
thought.
Icelandic and 2% sperm whale. You know, I just like yeah.
I thought she thought we was gonna go for it when she came in. Was like, no, bro. Like, what's going on? Okay, come on up, buddy. No, nigga.
Yeah, like come on, we're doing too much. Let's go to the next guest. If you black and you know you black, please tap like, please share the live. Let's get this on the right algorithm so I get people that know they black too. Hopefully you know other brothers and sisters. Please, cause anybody that's confused, you're getting dropped. If I ask you your race and you start giving me your family tree, I'm dropping you. If I ask your race and you give me your religion, I'm dropping you. If I ask you your race and you come up here and give me a description like monoracial or biracial, I'm dropping you. Race, we all know what it is. If you don't know what it is, stay your ass in the comments. All right. Abdil, give us your age, race, and pronouns, please.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. I am 53. I'm a black male, so indigenous. Him. Yeah, I don't know what more.
If I ask your race and you say anything other than your race, listen, I'm not playing with you pretending it's the day. I'm not playing with y'all. I'm not up here to go back and forth with folks that, what is indigenous? I don't know what he mean. I don't know what he mean. He said he black, so that means he's indigenous. What in the hell? That's like somebody saying, I'm black, so that means I'm Chinese. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah,
What do you
indigenous is a
mean?
global term. That's the thing. You can't just be indigenous. You got to be indigenous to somewhere.
Man, people are wild, man. We're gonna go to the next guest. Imagine Wagons. Give us your
Yo,
age, race, and pronouns, please.
I'm a beaner. I'm a Mexican.
He thought that was funny.
I know you did not just lead with that.
Nah, he thought that was funny.
Eh?
You get no giggles, bro. You get no giggles, bro. You're not funny. Next, we're gonna bring somebody else up here. Y'all keep tapping like, I don't know. He called himself a derogatory term for Mexicans and thought that was cute. I like, come on, man. Anybody want to come up and answer the questions? Feel free. Send the requests. I got a lot of friends up here, so some of y'all might have to drop, but not yet. Just y'all are all kind of my people, so even if you drop, you can come back up. But I think we got one more spot open for somebody else. If y'all want to come up, feel free to come on up. Send a request. Bubba, what's going on? Give us your age, race, and pronouns, please.
Peace to the panel. Peace, brother.
Peace.
Age 25, race black, pronouns he, him.
All right, talk to us, brother.
Yeah, I ain't gonna say too much, but yeah, we absolutely deserve reparations, and I agree with everything you said as far as the reparations that obviously this is all hypothetical until it actually happens, but everything should
Mm-hmm.
go to the continent of Africa and everything,
Mm-hmm.
especially with those resources, because if anyone knows, they currently stealing the resources. Hence why their countries are. I don't want to go into detail, but
You're blaming America for Africans' corruption.
no, what the
Who are you? And did you
Don't
introduce yourself,
please.
sir?
No, he didn't introduce
this?
himself.
Yeah, but
Wait.
oh, go ahead, brother.
He acting like the CIA too. Just wait.
Right.
Bubba, go ahead. You can land your plane, brother.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if anyone knows this, but I can't even say the end of chattel slavery because technically slavery is still going on. But anyway, a lot the slave masters receive reparations and whatnot.
Mm.
Well, simply just owning slaves, like imagine that they didn't give the enslaved people who have no means of income the reparations. They gave the slave masters who were already up um, economically all the money and everything. So just think about that. But also, the YT man has done a great job of convincing a lot of black people in this country that they don't need reparations. They should just quote unquote pull themselves up by the bootstraps and just work while they can just sit on their behind and collect the money that you labor for. They did a great job. A lot of us are hoodwinked. They think we're supposed to work vigorously for hours while they just get theirs. They can live I don't know, I was about to use a term, but yeah, they did a good job of convincing us that we don't deserve it. We should just pull ourselves by the bootstraps. We should work 80 hours a week to get our income while they just, own the means of production and everything and generate their wealth their way. But yeah, I don't want to ramble on. I'm actually going to drop the mic more. I appreciate you having me up, brother.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, my brother. And y'all, that is one thing that they've tried to convince us is that meritocracy, which is a fallacy of racism. I'm also going to make a video about. I'm doing the 10 fallacies of racism. Meritocracy, that all we have to do is work hard enough and we'll be free, is bullshit. Ain't nobody on the planet Earth worked harder than black people. I will say it again. Nobody on planet Earth in all of mankind's history has worked harder than the black man and the black woman. Big up to my brothers and sisters. All right, I'm gonna go to the next guest. Mai, give us your age, race, and pronouns.
I am
Hello.
21. I am black and she, her.
All right, talk to
Um,
us.
so I do all black people deserve reparations? Definitely, we deserve reparations. Though with this conversation, I don't think it's to do with asking white people for reparations. I don't think that's what it seeks to do, this conversation at all. But what I mean to say is, whether what they're willing to give us or how they feel about us or what we can do with reparations or anything like that. That's not our business. That's for them to figure out for themselves. They
Mm-hmm.
need to leave us alone. Right, we don't need to get anything we don't already have. Like a lot of the wealth that they already have is ours. So we don't need them to give us anything. We need to be left alone. And as to whether or not they're willing, that's not that's not our conversation either. That's for them to decide. But as for us, our unity is not a choice. You know how people are like, oh, do we want to unify with this person, with these people, with that person? Unity is not a choice if we want to be liberated. It's a necessity because isolated we are very weak, even on the continent. I mean, it's a whole continent, and yet we are still, like, for example, South Africa, where I'm from, very, very vulnerable right now to the powers that be, and it's I would blame our isolation, right? The Sahel was able to pull together what they did because to the extent that they were able to, they unified. they unified, and that's what we need. And so even in America, all across the diaspora where our people are, we are vulnerable, isolated, and unity is the only way we can get what it is we need, which is to be left alone. We need to be left alone. That's what I will make as my submission, honestly. But as for deserving reparations, we do deserve that.
All right, I heard that. That's facts. I'm glad you clocked it, sis, because the point of this live is to just talk about who deserves reparations, and not to try to ask for it, because I don't feel like that's our place. Our place is with our own people, building and creating a power base that will make reparations unnecessary, but also put fear into the heart of those that cause our people harm in the first place, to the point where they're going to want to give us reparations when we done. So thank you for clarifying that. Let's go to the next guest. The original Cash, give us your age, race, your pronouns, please.
I'm black. I'm 23. My pronouns are he, him.
All right. So,
And, I was pretty much going to utter the same. The last person had the same sentiment. Only thing is, I feel like we only type of, like, if we want to make any type of progress, we just got to unite. That's plain and simple. That's really how I feel. You know, everything else has been said has been spot on. You know, but it's gonna take us to unite. Whether that's like brothers and sisters from Africa, Black Americans. I just feel like there's a whole bunch of division amongst us. There's like a whole bunch of division, you know, from colorism and whatnot. So I just say, in order for us to really have progress, we just need to unite. That's all I have to say.
okay. I mean, I don't think colorism is going to get in the way of much.
Well, I was just saying, like, my bad. I was just saying from like a perspective, like, we're divided in a way, you know? I'm not saying that would directly get in the way, but I'm saying, like, even when it comes to like politics, we all have different ideologies. You got some people who want to, you know, who want to, you know what I mean? Who want to, like, I'm not really too deep into politics because obviously both Democrats, Republicans not really for us, but I'm just saying, like, you got certain people who want to tap dance for the white man and whatnot. You know, I'm just saying, like, from that perspective, we're not really, like, you know, united as one.
There may never be a time we united as one. I don't think there ever was a time we've been as united as we are today. Today, there's more unity amongst Black people than there's ever been. One sister was hit in the head supposedly with a brick, and even though we was arguing back and forth, we was united on hosting live after live after live after video, talking about it, talking about how it was problematic. Meanwhile, in other communities, you know, white women and Asian women get dealt with much worse than that, and you don't see them coming together to talk about it. You know, like the thing about the new age, you know, where I'm able to talk to brothers and sisters from Africa, talk to brothers and sisters from Haiti, talk to brothers and sisters from Brazil. And the other day I talked to, a few weeks ago, actually it was about maybe a month and a half ago, I talked to a brother from Saudi Arabia. You know what I'm saying? So we're together more than we've ever been. When our ancestors reached these shores, they thought they'd never talk to an African from the continent again. You know, I just think unity takes some time, but the focus right now, if you are Pan-African,
Yeah, I agree.
if you do care about unity, check out the Sahel region of Africa and the AES. Check out the AES and what they just did, the coalition that was just formed. Brothers and sisters are coming together now and forming confederations of African states against the oppressor, kick them out of the country. So check that out. You've never seen Black people come together like this before, ever in history. So I think now is the wrong time to complain about division, but we are pretty divided. We've always been this way. But unity now more.
Maybe I'm maybe I'm speaking from my experience from like Black America, but you're right. I need to look more into like Africa and like what's going on there and from outside of the United States.
Did you watch Kendrick Lamar's video that just dropped?
Yeah, the performance. Yeah, I watched it.
Did you? Okay. And my,
Oh yeah, yeah.
did you watch Kendrick Lamar's latest video?
The not like us.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. And free. Did you watch Kendrick Lamar's video?
No, isn't it on Amazon Prime?
Okay, she knows about it. Timothy, did you watch Kendrick Lamar's video?
I have it in my saved, but I definitely know about it. I've seen the clips.
Okay. So people have seen it or either heard about it or have seen some clips. I think that's pretty unified. I think we're seeing more unity than we've ever seen in the Black community. Like I said, we are getting more unified than we've ever been. Now, even in America.
Yeah, and I would also say, like, you have to network with a lot of organizers because there are, Black youth and Black elders and Black adults that are doing the work right now and trying to create foundations and communities in order to circumvent these systems and then, in a broader sense, like make connections back to Africa. You just don't know these people exist because we have to keep it on the hush hush because every single time we've done it in history, it's been fucked up in one way or another.
Yeah, well, I think the greatest African unified people in the history of Africa exists right here in America, exists in Brazil, exists in the Caribbean. We all were Africans taken from different parts of Africa, brought here on ships and decided to unify as one people. So I know unity is possible and Pan-Africanism is being realized today, even on the continent of Africa. So I think we have a lot to be proud of. I'm gonna go to the next guest. A2, give us your age, race, and pronouns.
Yeah, my age is 19. I'm Black, and my pronouns are he, him.
All right, talk to us.
Do all Black people deserve reparations? It's really hard to say. If we're talking about reparations in terms of, like chattel slavery here in the U.S., I don't think that it would be all Black people. Because all Black people didn't, like. You know what I mean? Like not all had ancestors that went through that, right? So
Which ones didn't?
which ones didn't?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, someone can like present as Black but not have ancestors that went through chattel slavery or
You think
I mean, I guess
reparations should only be for slavery?
no, well that's the usual like talking point, so that's
Okay,
kind of what I
but
assumed.
what about places that were affected by the exploits of slaves?
Oh yeah, I mean especially Africa. There's like strong links of underdevelopment in Africa due to how much people were taken there in Africa. So yeah, I mean if we're talking about that, definitely yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but we were the people, we were some of the things that they were taking. That's the point.
Wait, I don't. I'm sorry. Could you repeat that?
We, as African American people, we are the descendants of some of the quote unquote things that they took. We were exported out of Africa just like resources were.
Right.
So regardless of if, your recent ancestor was enslaved by a corrupt YT person, that's not the point. You are a descendant of thousands of people who have suffered that fate regardless.
Millions.
Millions, my bad.
And
At
also,
least 5
Yeah,
million.
I could. Yeah.
and
No,
also
I get that. I would.
A2, even if we want to fast forward it to a more recent time period, because I really get very, very, very like just it's fascinating to see how people always try to dismiss something that really wasn't that long ago. I mean, slavery was right around the corner, but let's for the sake of the argument, let's entertain that crap. Let's fast forward to a more recent time period. So in 2020, or I think in 2022, there was a report that came out by Citibank, or Citigroup, sorry, and they specifically stated that because of racist practices between the year 2000 all the way up to 2020, the United States economy missed out on roughly $16 trillion of economic value directly because of racist banking practices and racist financial practices targeted at people of African ancestry. So just off of that alone, the United States government owes us billions in reparations just from that alone. And that's only between the year 2000 up to 2000 and 2020. So technically speaking, the United States government owes us trillions in terms of what they did starting from the first enslavement of our ancestors being brought here all the way up to today.
Yeah, for sure. There's a lot of people that are saying I'm not black in the comments. That I don't know what to tell you. But yeah, I 100% agree, and I was coming at like a different angle that I definitely shouldn't have came at. I'm sorry about that.
It's all good. I mean, it's just, anytime that we're approaching conversations of reparations or history, we have to take, like, all right, anytime that we're talking about rectifying injustices, we got to take history into consideration. We got to take the full historical spectrum into consideration. Oh, Red Legend is on pause.
And you know what? Even after slavery happened to well, they say it's abolished, right? But we still have the 13th Amendment. Even through the prison system, if we're not even talking about that, black people were still getting paid garbage wages. So that's still a type of.
They're also not getting paid though, too.
That's right.
They're also not getting paid. McDonald's, Wendy's, and Burger King were just found last year for not paying prisoners that were working in these establishments in Mississippi. You can look it up.
In fact, it's more likely that they won't be paid than they will.
Yeah.
And it's insane that we would say that slavery in itself was abolished when they still had it up, just sort of created their own little justification for it, which was the 13th Amendment.
Are we talking just here in the United States? This is Lewis. You're talking just the United States because slavery has not really gone nowhere. Really, it's still in practice and everywhere around our culture. It's been maintained all the way back from all the way from.
Just to start off, hold
Yeah.
on.
Hold on.
We start introductions first.
We're gonna introduce you, Lewis. Before we do that, I want to share this with y'all. Somebody. Oh man, it's cut off. It's cut off, ain't it? All right. Well, yeah. Go ahead, Lewis. Give us your age, race, and pronouns. I'll show y'all in a minute.
Right, I'm Lewis Yaden III, DJ ATL out of Atlanta, Georgia, man. I lived in Europe, lived around the world. My dad was in the military. I've been involved, been doing a lot of research for years, for Bantus to Africans. I've been doing all my research as much as I can to understand my
brother. Just age, race, and pronouns for now, family.
Okay, 47, man. Big.
Okay, and your race?
African American, please.
Okay. And
I don't want to say African, but I'm gonna say, I'm gonna say the African part. I am African part. I am black.
All right. Family. Hold up. And just he/him pronouns.
You said
he/him, like referring to you, he/him would be cool.
Man,
yes, no.
All right. So hold on. I want to read this. Because a lot of y'all in the comments want to talk about how Africans sold other Africans, right? So let's read this together. When the transatlantic slave trade is discussed, many attempt to distort historical evidence by focusing purely on African kingdoms in the latter stages of the slave trade. The misrepresentation often obscures the harsh reality that many African slaves were kidnapped directly by Europeans. Early accounts of Portuguese slavers like Le Coroa de Freitas and Diogo Cal in the 15th century vividly describe how they kidnapped Africans from the coast. This crucial aspect of the slave trade is frequently overlooked in favor of a skewed narrative that vilifies African chiefs as the primary perpetrators of selling their own people. In reality, in reality, the kidnapping of thousands of Africans by Europeans had begun long before the significant involvement of African kingdoms. So we was kidnapped first, and then the Europeans said, hey man, we tired of risking our lives kidnapping y'all. We're gonna find some traders that are willing to trade y'all. I'm gonna show up, I'm gonna knock on your door and say, hey, do you want a pew pew? Or should I give it to your enemies? One of y'all gotta sell the other one to us. So I'm gonna either give it to you or I'm gonna give it to your enemies. Who gets the pew pew? And so some of the chiefs, after being ravishly kidnapped by Europeans, said, you know what? We'll take the pew pews because if our enemies get it, we're cooked. And so then those people started to trade those that were captured in as prisoners of war for pew pews that would have been given to their enemies anyway. So this is a European system we're talking about, and kidnapping happened first. So don't act like African chiefs decided one day to start selling their own people, which at the time they didn't consider them their own people. They were just people next door. But I'm gonna calm down now.
May I add on to that as well?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and also when we talk about the concept of indigenous people, quote unquote, selling each other into slavery, we also have to take into account the fact that slavery and servitude are not the same thing. And indigenous people practiced a form of what we would consider indentured servitude. There were rules and rights that servants had. For example, servants were required and expected to come home. You were not allowed to use what we would consider corporal punishment on your slaves. You're not allowed to withhold them from anything. And if they are to have children, those children are not forced to do any labor. So even if they did, quote, sell us into slavery, they did not recognize what would be done to us. And there are accounts of several African countries trying to start wars with the United States because we didn't come back within that allotted time period. And we're not the only ones they told that lie to either. They told it to Indian people when they moved them to work in the Caribbean. They told them they would come back after a period of 7 years? And they never came back.
Yep, and also not to mention, indentured servitudes were literally given the right to be able to testify in court and provide eyewitness accounts for any grievance really that took place, whereas Africans weren't even able to be recognized as human beings in court. The key example is the so-called New York Rebellion. I think it's given a different term, but it was in the 1700s, and a 16-year-old indentured servant, YT girl, her testimony was provided in order to so-called thwart a African or enslaved African rebellion, and her testimony ultimately led to the mass unaliving of over a dozen people. And it wasn't until she started saying that wealthy YT people amongst the elite were also part of the culprits that were trying to plan the rebellion did they finally stop unaliving black people as a result of her testimony. And then on top of that, they paid her a certain a compensatory amount for her providing her technically all false testimony. And then she went about her married life, living however long she lived after that as a 16-year-old child, still with the ability to mass unalive and get 70 people deported. Completely stark difference in.
And also, oh, I'm sorry, my fault.
No, go ahead, fam.
Yeah, and also we have to think about the differences in global indigenous legal systems versus colonial ones. In our legal systems, the higher up you were in status, the more steep your punishment because you are considered an example. So if a rich person was caught, or what we would consider a noble person was caught doing something to their servant, they would be punished a lot heavier than a servant would be for fighting another servant.
All
And
right.
it's the same across Turtle
And
Island as well.
for you throwing that indigenous term around loosely, I just want to make sure.
Indigenous as a global term here. In many different indigenous communities
Right,
globally,
but
they
indigenous
practice.
is still a colonizer term because no one's indigenous until the colonizer show up. So I'm just trying to
That's
make
fair.
sure
That's
that
fair.
when we talking about Africa.
That's fair.
All right,
You're
so
right. You're right.
let's go to the next guest real quick. Lewis, give us your age, race, and pronouns, please.
Oh, okay. This is Lewis again. I'm 47 years old. I do call myself an African and a Black American because I am not going to be ashamed of my color, my skin. I'm not scared of my militant. I feel proud of myself, and I just know that we've been lied to for so long around this world consciously. Everything that y'all all said, I agree with 100%. They've been doing this stuff for so long, and they just don't want to tell you the truth. What's funny is that most people know that's not of African descent know the stories of all our ancestors and everything, and they know the truth and they say the truth, but they always want to throw us like, oh no, color doesn't matter, race doesn't matter, and it does. That's it.
Yeah, and this isn't just like a one-time thing. If we're sitting here talking about how they used to force them to sell the slaves, we can also like realize that this is what was happening within the indigenous here in the Americas, that they were forced to have these treaties for their land. If not, well, we know what happened. And also there was letters being sent to the King of Portugal that that trying to tell them to please stop coming and taking their like noble citizens. So that, I mean, that's proof in itself that they were coming and taking the Africans.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Well, when you want to buy Girl Scout cookies, the Girl Scouts knock on your door because the Girl Scouts are the ones selling the cookies. So, when people act like the transatlantic slave trade was because Africans wanted to sell Africans, and why is it that Europeans came to Africa, but we don't see any Africans here going to Europe to go sell other Africans? Why didn't Africans take boats and go to Europe and sell people if that was their main focus? How come we see Europeans coming to buy, but we don't see Africans going to sell?
And last I checked, I didn't see any African companies that were specifically named and cultivated by African people. Not a single one. However, you saw
Right.
several being made by the oppressors, and also all the boats were not being built off the coast of Africa, unless they were being built by an oppressor. But all them boats were coming straight out of Europe.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, who's really funding and controlling what's going on with the slave trade?
Mm-hmm. All right, let's go to the next guest. Puppy, give us your age, race, and pronouns, please. Oh, they left. Probably a honky. All right. Well, thank you all for tapping like. We appreciate you. We're having a nuanced discussion about the transatlantic slave trade, who deserves reparations. I seen another live about reparations today. Peace, Sister Marlene. So all black people, in conclusion, deserve reparations. Black people everywhere are faced with oppression. A black person is just an African in the context of oppression that has been categorized. So we all, of course, acknowledge our Africanness. Blackness is just an acknowledgement of our Africanness in oppression. And that being a term to politically unify us and unify our objective of liberating ourselves from that oppression. All black people that identify as black and have African ancestry or an African phenotype and practicing their African culture, knowledgeable about their indigenous African roots, then those people deserve reparations, as we are still oppressed today. However, what we don't want to do is argue over how we're going to get reparations. That is not our job, like Sister Mai was saying. That's not our job. Reparations and how something that was broken by the white man is to be fixed is not our place to figure out. If they really want to repair, then they're going to do it and they're going to fix it, and we don't have to sit here and argue with them or beg them to do it.
I agree 100% what you said, Brother Ledger. That is truly all. We should not even be, they should already be on the way to know what they're going to do because they know wrong was done. They know a lot of wrong was done. They know it. So it's up to them. It's not up to us, and it's up to them to give us what we need to do and what they need to do to accomplish the situation because they were a part of it. They benefited from it. They made money from it. They made a living. They built from it. They did great things from that. So if this country will not be where it is today because of that, and they know that's the wrongness, so they owe us. So we don't even need to be telling them about what we need to get from them. They need to be they need to be going ahead and doing what needs to be done right by God.
Right. hmm And the way I look at it, it's like if your neighbor stole your car, if your neighbor stole your car and parked it in their driveway, and they got your car, and you don't have a click clack, you don't know how to throw hands, you don't have no way of doing something to your neighbor, but you gonna knock on the door and ask for your car back. Like what you gonna do when your neighbor say no? What you gonna do? We don't have the power to do something when they say no. So we can't demand, we can only ask. And I'm tired of asking them for shit. I think what we need to do is come together with our brothers and sisters on the continent, come together specifically with Haiti, I feel. That's something that Malcolm X brought out, that Haiti could be, uh, I'm not sure if it was Malcolm X or Amos Wilson, but one of them said that Haiti would be a great stronghold for Africans in the West. Even with their iridium resources, they are resource rich. And at the end of the day, us creating an economic power base outside of the United States will give us the same power as the Chinese, the Koreans, the Vietnam. Well, I'm not sure about the Vietnamese, but I've never been to a Vietnamese community. But the Japanese, the Jewish people, even the Ukrainians. Like the reason all these people have all these other protections is because America does business with them, not at them. America does business at Africa. We don't have the economic power base in order to free ourselves. Were you gonna say something, Maya?
Yeah, I just wanted to add to that and say that when we finally own what is rightfully ours, they won't even have the chips to be able to give us reparations. Some of these lands are very, very barren.
Sure.
They won't even be able to. So getting them back is not even the question. It's getting what we already have rights to, what is already rightfully ours, because that's all they have. We'll just be getting back what is ours anyways. It's not theirs to even give. It's inherently ours. So when we do finally have that, they can't even pay us. They can't even give any kind of reparations at all. You know. So yeah, that's just what I wanted to
I
add
heard
to.
that.
Yeah, I wanted to piggyback off what you were saying as well. Um, as in regards of we don't have a backing system. Good example of that would be the Stop Asian Hate thing, where the Asians pretty much experienced like some hate crimes for like 2 weeks, and Biden quickly signed an executive order making that I guess you can say hate crime, and I don't have to go down all the atrocities that have been done to us for 400 plus years, and we still have yet to have anything passed. But they do some kind of trade with Asia. They have a system backing them, so they are a protected class. We're not. Again, like 2 weeks experiencing a few isolated incidents, and they already got a bill signed. Not to mention, I don't even want to take this angle on, brother, but like even seeing us stand in solidarity with them and they got what they wanted. But then, now, it's our turn. Or it's been our turn. Nothing. You see how they switched up, whatnot. That's why I try to tell like black people, like, we got to prioritize ourselves, brother. You said I don't want to misquote it, but it was something in regards of having enough selflessness to for
Oh,
our
yeah.
own liberation.
Joseph Ben Yakinen says black people sometimes don't have the selfishness necessary for survival.
Right, and we've seen that another example with Palestine. I don't have a problem with saying free Palestine, but like at the same time, like we got the Congo, Sudan, Haiti, and Burkina
I'm not
Faso.
saying
So many.
to anybody until I start seeing my African family prioritizing the liberation of African people. Like, I'm not saying free anybody else, because, like, technically speaking, we always, we always talk about, or at least I'm seeing a lot of content creators, specifically black people, talking all types of like Palestine. We need to do everything that we can to help those people. And I'm like, all right, but they're 50,000 versus our 15 to 20 million.
2.5 million in Sudan alone is going to go hungry by September.
I seen that.
Yep.
That is crazy.
And not to mention that the liberation of Africa is the liberation of the entire world. Because if the European powers do not have access to the resources to build weapons, then how the hell are they going to wage war? They'd have no ammo to do so with. So it's like the fact that we refuse to liberate Africa when Africans have been doing everything they can to liberate other people is anti-blackness at its finest, honestly.
Right. Absolutely.
Oh, go ahead, brother.
Go ahead, Bubba.
Can I say something this is something I've been pondering a little bit, but I feel like a lot of that is due to, I feel like a lot of black people, I don't expect any other race to have empathy for us, but I feel like they have, society has done a good job of making black people desensitized to our struggles. It's been going on for so long. I feel like they feel that, okay, even with the stuff keep happening, they feel like they should still focus on other countries, despite us already been going through this longer than they have. They become, like I said, desensitized to the atrocity that's been done to us and whatnot, that they don't even feel sorry for us anymore. It's almost like they think it's normal that we're going through this. Y'all making any sense?
No, absolutely. I
Yeah.
would agree 100%. Like, our struggle has been so continuous and gruesome for 400 years back to back with no break. Like, people are, and like you never see, well, actually, no, that's not even true. You do see some similarly graphic material being done, like delved out about black people versus what's the word, to rival that of what is going on in Palestine. And it's been going on for significantly longer. And yet we're spending a lot more time and energy on Palestine, when also a lot of these companies that are like funding Israel, like Israel is oppressing Congo, Israel is oppressing Sudan, like they are doing so for the access to minerals to build technology. Israel has a technological empire and they use African labor and African resources to build it. And many companies are going to Israel for technological advancements. So I feel like a lot of people they're taking this as an opportunity to like, what's the word? Like, they're not actually calling out white supremacy. They're just calling out the injustice that they see the most and the injustice that their bias has allowed them to empathize with the most. Because there has been, for 5 cents a day on my TV screen since I was a little kid, like we've been seeing all of these organizations claiming to donate to Africa, and yet we're still, and it's not really their place either. Like, do you get what I'm saying? I'm sorry. I feel like I'm yapping.
I'm gonna drop down
Yeah, you
real
telling the
quick.
truth.
Thank you for the knowledge, though.
All right. Peace.
Yeah, no, I mean, I was gonna say that like it's there's this one instance where I think like a famous Palestinian, or Allah, put a P in front of that. He's like a attorney or something like that, or he's like a well-known advocate within that community. And the comedian Hewley, J.R. Hewley or something. Yeah, I forget the two initials in the front. But yeah, he posted a video clip, and this was a while back ago. But he posted a video clip about a woman, a black woman, who was advocating for Palestine, and there was a bunch of like YT students at this school that were mocking her by making monkey noises. And so
Yeah, I,
Hewley posted the video about that, or he posted like the clip about that, and then immediately in the comment section, I see this well-known Palestinian advocate saying, "Talk about Palestine." Like, no, just talk about that. And people underneath that were just like, "What are you talking about? Like, this is like we gotta, our shit matters too." And then mad people liked that comment rather than his, and I'm like, I mean, clearly they don't give two shits about our oppression, even in the midst of us fighting for their oppression. So why are we, and at the same time, they are literally the descendants of those that benefited from the Arab slave trade, of which is still happening today.
yes, you're
And
right.
yet we're
You're
sitting
right
here
about
crashing
that.
out over the same demographic that is still enslaving us?
Not to
Yes.
mention a lot of Palestinian activists have been trying to call for help from the UAE, but the UAE is actively exploiting resources in Congo. They are also funding the war in Congo, or rather I should say the genocide in Congo. So it's like y'all are also asking for help from the very people that are oppressing us, but y'all want us to stand 10 toes down for you and ignore our own oppression. And also, I've noticed that the only way I've been able to get people to understand why I'm prioritizing Congo over Palestine is when I relate it to freeing other people. When I say that, like, the liberation of Africa is the liberation of Earth, and that in order to free Palestine, we literally need to cut the European Union as well as Israel off from those resources to even make the weapons. That's the only way I get them to understand. It's not good enough that we are suffering and we deserve access to our own resources and to not be unalived for it. But no, we have to be related to somebody else's servitude. And I think we really need to examine that.
That's a fact. You know what? That's a fact. That's I've had this conversation with a Palestinian man on a black woman's live where she prioritized them for some reason to the point where I couldn't understand nobody in the damn live because she's an American black woman, but everybody in there was speaking Arabic about what was going on. I'm like, now, sis, you hosting a space to the level of of trying to help them to where you can't even understand what they could be calling you all type of names right now, and you don't even understand what they talk.
She doesn't
That
speak
was
their language,
crazy.
brother Ledger. That's so true, man. You wouldn't be surprised. You're right. And I mean, y'all are 100% right about everything y'all saying, everything. And that's what I'm saying. Nobody want to talk about the Congos, what's going on down there at all. And, you know, as soon as you mention that, everybody ears drops. Everybody outside of race drop. And most of us as urban people, urban people in Americas, we don't even know nothing about Congos. We don't even understand the situation in Congos is. We really don't.
Hmm.
So I've
Also,
just been learning. I'm learning that in the
oh,
last
go ahead.
couple months. And I'm still learning about the Congo, the
Look
B2,
up Patrice
all that.
Lumumba. Look up Patrice Lumumba. If you want to feel it in your chest, brother, look up Patrice Lumumba. He's someone that Malcolm X met with when he visited Africa. Look up Patrice Lumumba, brother. That story, wicked, evil, and understand that he didn't just speak for the liberation of his people. He spoke for Black people, and he saw us as one people. He was a Pan African. Look up Patrice Lumumba, man.
Definitely gonna look that up, man. I definitely need to read on that so I can get some understanding.
Most
Crazy.
definitely.
Can I
Can I
just
say?
say, like,
Oh, go ahead.
with
Go ahead.
the way, the reason, like, people, they kind of dismiss or they're too lazy to look in, not lazy, but the narrative, it makes it's such that you really have to put in more effort when it comes to our issues versus those that are more advocated for, like Palestine, is because, like, when you bring up Sudan, when you bring up Congo, they're like, oh, those are just civil wars, those are internal wars, or what was going on in Rwanda. They like to, because the enemy here, is hiding, it is obscure. And so when you just look at it on the surface, it looks like, oh, it's just Africans fighting against one another like they usually do, and they don't look at, you know, what does happen, who is funding them, why it is, who benefits from the bloodshed of these people, you know. So I think it's really about, you know, the narrative now, because it's not like the Europe or the West in general, they have boots on the ground in our lands. It's not like they, you know, the kind of combat or warfare that people want to see, versus like in Palestine, where you can actually I'll say it's more in plain sight, right? So it's, we don't really also not owning the narrative. It becomes that we need to be intentional about the kind of media that we're consuming, and the kind of, and how we speak about our own issues, right? You know, we can talk about, you know, the civil conflict, but we need to make sure to emphasize really what's really going on, not limited to, oh, it's the M23, or oh, it's RSF versus SAF in Sudan. We need to, you know, really make that effort to I would say counter propaganda almost, you know, to really fix the narrative here about what they're you know, painting it to be like. Yeah, that's what I'll leave it there.
Absolutely. And like Brother Legend had said earlier, like what's happening is what has been happening for the last 500-600 years on the continent and in America. It's a big game of, I'll either give you a pew pew or I'll give your enemy a pew pew. I just need the resources, and one of y'all are going to get it for me. So which one of you are going to pick up the pew pew first? Like, you have to recognize that this whole war is being, like, who is benefiting, who is getting the materials from this war, because it's not Rwanda and it's not Congo. So
Right. You're right, 100%. But I
Also
just
want
want to say this. I think the Israel situation, the Palestine situation, I'm going to call it for what it is. It's a distraction. Because as soon as you start talking about what's going on in Americas or any black urban community, they close ears and act like, oh, la, 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 I don't want to hear that. They act like it's not the same thing in which it is, because it's the same scenario. But I'm just saying, my thing is, I believe that they use this stuff as a propaganda just to keep it, to let you know that, hey, it's still out there. So please don't talk about your flight. To me, as far as the African black person, that's what they're trying to tell me.
Yeah. Also, another thing I want to shed light on. I see it's a new guest up here, brother. So I don't want to.
Oh, I didn't see him. Okay.
Yeah,
Go ahead,
but
Bubba.
I want everyone to pay attention to. I don't know. I haven't been seeing it on the news lately, but a lot of the college campuses, and the students are like in protests with Palestine. They get pepper sprayed. They get arrested. You see, they know what it takes to have a voice heard, and you see how they do in the defense of Palestine, and they're not doing the defense of Congo, and not even for the black people in the states. So I just want people to acknowledge that. That's why I wanted to shed light on that. You see what they prioritize. They don't look at our struggles as something deemed worthy. So they worry about Palestine more. They're getting pepper sprayed and arrested for Palestine.
absolutely.
They focuses on things that they want to put their focuses on. Brother, I remember you saying, and this is something that we already know. Let a hockey game over and whatnot, a championship. They rioting and they burning.
Hey, can I share something with you with this
Well,
point?
hold on, Glenn. Hold on,
Can
Glenn.
I finish, Mr. Glenn?
Well,
I'd like to piggyback off of you when you're done.
wait, hold on. We gotta go to Glenn after.
Yeah. Yeah, I just wanted to shed light on that. And one more thing before I landed my plane, but I also wanted to say this: be wary of the white tea people coming in here talking about politics or anything. I want y'all to like. I'm not telling y'all what to do as far as blocking them or muting them, but I feel that they doing that because they are master disruptors. They come in here, they know it's unrelated to what we're talking about, but they come in here talking about. I don't even want to say the name because I don't want to be the cause of it, but
yeah, I know what you mean.
People, whatnot, and they would have caused that banner to be put on the bottom. And I don't know if that disrupts the algorithm in any way, but they are master disruptors, and they're doing that for a reason. So I just wanted everybody to take heed of that.
True. Well, thank you, brother. Go ahead, Glenn. We'll give you a chance to speak. Give us your age, race, and pronouns, please. Glenn, we can't hear you. Give us your age, race, and
And
motherfucker.
I'm 59 years old, and I feel where this podium is coming from, man. It's always a side distraction from the main source of what's going on. Now, what I would like to share with you, y'all, this podium, man, we have been fooled about this Israel and Palestinian fight that's going on, this Gaza fight going on. The thing is, my brothers and sisters, this: if when you get a chance to, I want you to punch up on YouTube, say Mount Zion, Kenya. Mount Zion, Kenya. What they doing is this place that they call Israel. If you get an old map of Africa, you'll see that land that they call themselves the so-called Hebrews or the of Israel, bro. That's not the true Israel. That's not true. A place that they call the Holy Land that they supposed to be at. It's going to shock you that half of Africa travel once a year to Mount Kenya, which is the holy mountain that's mentioned in the Bible. It's in Kenya, right a few hundred miles above Nairobi. So it's a side distraction. They trying to say, oh, this is the holy land of Israel. No, it's not. Israel is in Kenya. You think I'm lying? Get on your computer and pull it up.
Brother. What we got to move away from, we got to fight with a ferocity that we have never fought with before, to completely ban any and all Abrahamic religion rhetoric. The reason why is because none of what you just said is accurate.
Why is it not?
Kenya is ancient African land where thousands of years ago, there was no such thing as an Israel. There was actually an ancient Nubian civilization called Tasseti, and that was more so, I'd probably say more modern Sudan. But before that, right around between Sudan, Kenya, Ethiopia, you would see more ancient African populations that lived in those areas. Like right around Ethiopia, you would see potentially, because they haven't really discovered it 100% yet, but potentially ancient African civilization known as Punt, which is where the ancient Egyptians, ancient Kemites, which was a black African civilization, believed that they came from. So there are deep ancient African terms that are associated with that, but where we always fall into the quicksand and where many of us get unalived by the quicksand is when we try to take the Bible, which is not a historical document, and try to throw it into everything African.
That's
we
true.
Gotta stop
that is
doing
so
it.
true. You are right 100% by that. That is so true.
It's dangerous, family. It is so dangerous because we're sitting here like, yeah, you know what? Adam and Eve, they were on the continent of Africa, and they was hanging out, and then they was holding hands and everything like that. But it's like, hold on, time out. There's no possible way, genetically, biologically, like for all of the human species to come from just one man and one woman. That's not.
Bro, I don't believe that. So don't.
Well, unfortunately, belief is one thing, but facts are another. And facts is what we have to prioritize everything off of.
Was the first. I never said, and I don't believe Adam and Eve was the first two people on the planet. I never said that.
Oh boy,
I don't believe that.
Just referencing a specific biblical passage that is commonly referred to when it comes to that. It's just an example. I never said that you actually said it yourself. I'm just saying that it's an example of why we need to move with a ferocity away from Abrahamic concepts. Family, like it's too dangerous. It is not right. It is not educated. It's not coming from an educated lens. And even Dr. John Henrik Clarke himself, who was a very well-known.
I know who that is. I done met him.
All right. Well, he himself stated something very specific. He said that he questions the intelligence of anyone that looks at the Bible as a historical document.
I didn't say it was a historical document, bro. I'm just saying that our ancestors who lives in the land of El Kibalon, what they call Africa, is this mountain is where a lot of our ancestors worship their spirituality at. That's basically what I'm saying. At this,
Okay,
what,
then
Well,
that's a different conversation. For you to
yeah,
say
we
that's
could
the
talk
original
about that.
Israel, that's not. Is there was no such thing as a concept of Israel back in ancient
Right.
times like that.
so
Like
it's
We
that's
never
we
talk.
got
been
the
no.
topic.
So it's never been Hebrews. It's never
Hold on.
been
Let me talk. Let me
people. It's never
talk.
been. I'm asking a question,
Hold
my
on.
brother. I
Hold
mean,
on.
I'm not trying to dispute anything. I'm
Hold
just
on.
asking a question.
Hold on. So, yeah, the people of Israel. Israel was a nation, but before Europeans, nations were through lineage or geographical, like tied to a certain land, but not an actual land mass itself. But the nations, the 12 tribes of Israel, being Hebrews, um, they were the sons of Israel, and so yes, they were a nation, but they weren't a nation with a landmass. They were nomads for a good chunk of the Bible, and moved around quite a lot till they stole the land from with who they called the Canaanites. But either way, what you're talking about as far as Mount Kenya, I have heard that that's where ancient pharaohs would go to perform rituals, to spiritual rituals, to kind of like affirm their understanding of their role as a pharaoh and a leader. And they would see themselves in a certain level of position and status in society above a regular person as a leader of Egypt. So
The reason why I said it, my brother, because I've been there several times, and they have no documents over there. They have no historical thing that the pharaohs or nobody ever went to this mountain. But these 12 tribes of people that if you get an old map, you'll see a lot of the 12 tribes settled in that area of East Africa, around that mountain.
well, I was about to say too that when the Yankees that created what we now know as Israel were looking for a place to put the small hat people that had been afflicted and oppressed during World War II, they thought of Kenya. They thought to actually make Kenya what we now know as Israel, but they decided against it in favor of the Rothschilds' idea. So
Yeah, and
yeah,
yeah, my father's in the military. He taught me that too, because he was in the war and all this and kind of
it's
stuff, man. He
documented.
was
Yeah.
telling about that, how that land over there is not really the land that of our ancestors, that they call Israel now. That is not.
And then it also has three peaks that the mountain that you're talking about has three peaks that they would say will represent the Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. I do know a little bit about it.
But they
Yeah.
did have a city built inside that mountain. King Solomon supposed to have been built a city inside that mountain. So they actually got historical facts of that.
Mm. Oh, I haven't seen the city, but I
Yeah, bro.
know.
That's the
Yeah.
point. I've been there. You see what I'm saying? And to hear these elders, our ancestors, these elders who was teaching this and teaching people this and showing this on old maps and stuff like that, man, it's mind blowing to say. I heard earlier how y'all saying how the YTs come and they'll switch stuff and move this and change the names and this and that and this and that. And that's what they actually did. The reason why the YTs want to take over Africa so much, man, because everybody know that's in their right mind. That's the beginning of civilization.
Mm. Well, they got it. We trying to get it back.
Oh no, they only got certain spots. Let me tell you, because when I was there, the reason why I had to leave, man, because Kenya man was telling at the time the president that if anybody from the United States asked for YTs come over there to my buying land and this and that, bro, they shipping them out of there in a box. They not having it. So
Where they not having it? You talking about the same President Ruto that was just about to sign a tax bill because the IMF told him the
not
taxes on people?
not only that, but it was before that too. They kept that a hush hush. So I mean,
What?
Yeah, I've been going over there since the early 2000s. So,
Well, I understand you've been going there, brother, but that last I checked, Kenya is still compromised. Kenya is one big plantation.
nah, bro, I think you need to go back and check again. It's not like that
No,
now.
no, I think you need to. I
No,
don't
bro,
need to
it's
go
not like that
somewhere.
now.
I don't need to go somewhere to understand geopolitics now. I understand. I understand you got a lay of the land. You got the geography, and you touch and you feel things, and that's great. You know what I'm saying? But we know that the number one export in Kenya is agriculture. What do you call it when black folks is doing all the growing of the plants and white folks is making most of the money because it's being exported out of Kenya? So they not the agriculture don't go back to Kenyan people. So what do you call it when black people is planting all the farms and white people is getting all the money?
Well,
That's a plantation, brother.
that's, but hell, that's the same way here in America. That we work our butts off and ain't got nothing to show for it, and they getting all the profit for it.
Wow. Okay.
Well, America's a plantation as well. I'm not saying that. I
Okay.
mean, we could talk about I mean, you opening up the conversation. I'm talking about Kenya specifically right now. Kenya, the white man has influenced all 10 areas of people activity for Africans worldwide. White supremacy is a global system created by white people to control and dominate all non-white people, specifically African people. So I don't think there's anywhere on this planet that we can go as black people where we're going to see a whole bunch of other black people that the white man don't got at least some control over.
Well, you can try Ethiopia because they don't have no control over Ethiopia.
Yes, they do.
Yes, they.
Last time I
You know
checked,
how I know they got control over Ethiopia?
how's that?
Because the name Ethiopia is in Latin.
It's in Latin. Well,
It's in
hell,
Latin.
that's the same thing you can say about the word Africa.
There you go. They're not just saying.
That's the point.
That's the whole point.
But see, when I'm dealing, I was saying Africa because I'm sure a lot of people don't know it by the oldest name that was known by that whole entire land.
It wasn't known. No, it wasn't known by the whole entire land. It was an indigenous name. Dr. Sheikh Anta Diop put it in his book. So I know about Al-Kabelan. I know about Dr. Sheikh Anta Diop. And I know that he put that Al-Kabelan was an indigenous term that was used by African people, and it's the oldest indigenous term used by African people, but it wasn't used by the entire land of Africa. There was no point in history where Africans all considered themselves one people until you get to the transatlantic slave trade, where we come to the West, and even though we mixed with all different types of African, we decided that we was black and we was going to stand on business. But before that, everybody was divided. You know, some people called it Corfe, some people called it Nubia, some people called it Libya, some people called it Al-Kabelan.
And that is true. You're right, brother Legend. That is so true.
Yeah. All right. Well, y'all, I gotta go. I got my wife doing my hair. I appreciate y'all, man. Big up. Oh, Miss K. Oh no. Oh, Miss K. Darn, she jumped down. Well, appreciate you, Miss K. I gotta go. I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for the meeting. Shout out to Sister Marlene for the Panther Paws. We're gonna get back to. I hate to do the same live over and over, but we do get different results. But you know, I just try to come up and teach. The one I do about interracial relationships is not really about interracial relationships, if y'all haven't noticed. But speaking about interracial relationships is one good way to kind of gauge the consciousness of people. You know what I'm saying? Like, kind of tells you where they stand as far as they own people. So that's why we have that conversation. It also gives us a chance to learn how white folks feel like they have an entitlement to our bodies. Appreciate you, Sister Lamb. And yeah, we'll talk about it some more. I'll be back tomorrow. Peace and power to all the descendants of my ancient mother. Also, check out b1initiative.org. We had our meeting today. It was a fruitful meeting. Big up to salute to B1 Initiative, Sister Cruzanne, Rose, and Sister Marlene, and Timothy, and everybody that was there. Brother Free was in there. Bubba was in there, man. We had a very fruitful meeting. Y'all are like family to me. B1initiative.org. Y'all are like family. Everybody that comes to the meetings, You know, we're going to continue to grow, and I feel like we're going to create our own digital power base as we continue to build for our people. So organizing is the first step. Thank you all for joining. I'm gonna be back tomorrow. Free the land, free Haiti, free Sudan, free Libya, free Congo, free your brothers and sisters everywhere, and Black Power, y'all. Talk to you tomorrow.